wants to focus on beating what will be a very, very good, battle-hardened, tough and desperate Batley side. The 6 points to their total after 12 games. They are currently adrift in that bottom 4. Well, we're about to see the two sides emerge side by side here. James Brown, Michael Lawrence, the two captains of Bradford and Batley. It is an electrifying evening here. There's a cacophony of noise. We've got fireworks and pyrotechnics going off in front of the main stand. It is a throwback to the early days of Bullmania. Odsal is a kaleidoscope of colour. Just look at the fireworks going off in front of the main stand. Unbelievable here at Barnacard Odsal. One of those pinch yourself moments. We've just mentioned the two sides. Disappointing defeat for Bradford last week, but Brian Noble knows how to set a team to hit form and peak at the business end of a rugby league season. That is surely worth its weight in gold. So we know James Chapman and Ben Kay will take temporary charge of Batley for this game at Bradford this evening. The early rumours indicate John Keir could be about to return to Mount Pleasant to rescue the Bulldogs. Well, the referee for this one, he's dressed in blue. It's Kevin Moore from Castleford. It's his 5th appointment in the middle of a Bradford Bulls game in 2025. And he is one of those young officials that is slowly rising to the top of the championship with consistent performances. He's already done some big games in 2025 as Kevin Moore. He did Toulouse against Halifax a couple of weeks ago. He did Bradford Widnes a fortnight back. And it is going to be the boot of the Batley Bulldogs to get proceedings underway here this evening. So, West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Bulls TV, 247.com. We're up and away here at Barnacard Odsal, but the kick-off has gone sailing out there on the full. It will be an early penalty to the Bradford Bulls, and it will be an early opportunity for Bradford to potentially strike first. Well, no secret, it's been a short turnaround ahead of this game with Batley and Bradford playing both on Sunday, and Brian Noble looking to use that short turnaround as motivation for his Bradford side to show a response. The 7-game unbeaten run may be over, but as the second half of the season starts tonight, Bradford are in a very strong position to achieve that goal at the start of the season, which of course was a top 2 finish. Well, it's back-to-back penalties here, inside 40 seconds for the Bradford Bulls. Batley like to play on the edge. They're very, very physical. They like to dominate early door. And referee Kevin Moore will stop the clock here with 40 seconds gone. And he is just going to lay the letter of the law down to Dane Manning. He was banned for 8 games for initiating that mass brawl when the sides met in that fiery, chaotic 1895 Cup clash back in February. And Bradford not going for 2 easy points early doors. They're going to run the ball in here. As we said, it's an electrifying evening here at Barnacard Odsal. So, a minute gone on the clock. Bradford 10 metres out from the Batley line as Joe Keys drops the shoulders. He's brought down there in a 2-man tackle just to the left-hand side of the post. Tyron Ott, a rare start for him in place of the injured Mitch Shooter. Gives the ball to Michael Lawrence. Lawrence felled just to the left-hand side of the post, and that's where Bradford go. They're moving towards the left to Conrad Harrell, and Conrad Harrell crashes over, but somehow Jack Render and Joe Burton have stopped the Tongan international from grounding the ball. It is the last tackle for the Bradford Bulls. 90 seconds gone. We go back to the 10. Keys crossfield kick, looking for Wonga Blake. Batley lose the ball towards their own line. Bradford smothering, suffocating like bees, rejecting the new queen, and Batley dragged over the try line, trapped in goal, and Dave Manning holds his hands up. There was nothing whatsoever Dave Manning could do about that one, because when you've got Wonga Blake, you've got Zach Fulton, you've got Jaden Ockenbaugh, and that little pocket rocket Jordan Lilly playing in his 69th consecutive Bradford game this evening. Doesn't miss many, Jordan Lilly. That has earned Bradford a thoroughly deserved repeat set of 6. So Bradford now, some early pressure, some early momentum in this game. Skur brought down tackle 2 outside the 20, inside the 20 now with Holmes to G. G right up on tackle 3. The atmosphere here at absolutely electric as the sun starts to set in the distance. Keys to Lilly. This time pass there, it's gone behind everybody, recovered by Wonga Blake. Blake's just going to run into some very, very fierce, energetic Batley defence. Ollie Greensmith, the former Wakefield Academy player, one of those 3 Batley defenders there. Hallis in that loose forward position right at the start of this game. He's brought down 25 metres out. He's not played the ball correctly there, Sam Hallis. So that early pressure that Bradford have had in this game, with 3 minutes gone on the clock. They had the penalty, the ball going out on the full. They had the penalty for the high tackle. They forced the goal line drop out, and they have come up with a little bit of an early error there, which might not please Brian Noble, and they've not been able to capitalise on that early possession in territory. But one thing, when we've just spoken to Brian Noble, those joining us on the live stream, I'm sure you heard it from Brian, he knows it could take a while for Bradford to sap some energy out of the Batley forward pack to finally break them down, but he's expecting a high completion rate, a high possession game, and he wants Bradford to really build into this game. As we said, Bradford second in the table, a chance to go joint top with Toulouse this evening. Batley with 4 gone on the clock here. The first play the ball inside the Bradford half of the field. It's going to go over the dummy half, over on that right hand from Brandon Moore. And Brandon Moore has forced the error there. And Batley have come up with error number 2 of the evening. That was down to Conor Carell, who just launched himself like a rocket out of that defensive line. So, the third meeting between Bradford and Batley this season. Bradford leading 2-0 after 2 wins at Mount Pleasant, Batley's home ground. In contrasting games, that first game, you know, it was a narrow 4-point win for Bradford, 16 points to 12. Yes, there was the chaos and the anarchy with the 2 red cards and the 5 sin binnings, but when Bradford went there in round 10, it was only 5 weeks ago when Bradford last went there, they come away with a big thumping 48-12 win. And did ask Brian the question pre-match, and you know, he knows Bradford are going to have to work hard this evening, because Batley, after the departure of Mark Moxon, they will have a little bit of a lift here to try and impress James Chapman and Ben Cares. Tyron Ott goes out a dummy half here. Bradford early in the tackle count after that Batley error. Holmes out of acting half now to Keys. Keys to Skur. Skur fronts up down the middle, looks for support. Non-forthcoming. Good defence there from Luke Cooper. The Batley born forward. The 20 metres out now. Keys boot to ball. G chasing this one. So to Armitage, who had 2 tries last week. And it's a penalty to Batley, because Bradford's kick chase is going to be adjudged to be offside inside the 10. So, penalty to the Batley Bulldogs. 2 penalties to 1. And Batley just 2 wins all season in 2025. Wins against Widnes, and that win at the death against the London Broncos. Well, what an action-packed weekend we've got for you this weekend. This evening we've got Bradford Batley, Featherstone Halifax kicking off shortly. Tomorrow it's Toulouse against Oldham, and then on Sunday Hunslet Barrow, Widnes York, and the game we're covering on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, Sheffield Doncaster, the South Yorkshire Derby. What a game that should be at Olympic Legacy Park. Batley with Brandon Moore now to Woods to Greensmith. Wrapped up there by Ott, Lillian, Hallis. Quick play the ball. Manning goes herring away out of that. He's dumped on his backside by Skur and Fulton. Batley on the last tackle. 5 inside the Bradford half. 1 Woods, high, hanging, torpedo kick. Holm takes it on the full in the in goal. 7 tackle set coming up for Bradford. Holmes taps the ball. He's caught high there by James Brown. And James Brown could be in a spot of bother here because it was a quick tap on the 20 from Tom Holmes. Is Kevin Moore just going to give a penalty, or will he deem it a professional foul? We've had 6 minutes gone here. Still scoreless. And referee Kevin Moore will just say that is a penalty to Bradford. Well, you've got to say he's walked the tightrope there as James Brown, the Batley forward. That must have been oh so close to potentially seeing Batley down to 12 men for 10 minutes. As it is, another penalty to Bradford. More foul play from the Bulldogs as Tyrone Ott now carries Bradford. 15-metre run out of acting half. He's 15 away, dead set central with the Batley post. Alice to Keys to G. G breaches the Batley 10. 10 in from the far stand side. Ott to Keys, looks for those willing runners, finds one in Lawrence. Lawrence now to Sker. Sker to Ott. Bradford have numbers with G. G's gone back on the inside. Ball's gone backwards, say the officials. Holmes goes past 1, can't go past 2 and 3. And that's good. Strong defence there from the Bulldogs, who are doing their best to keep the Bulls at bay as Keys drops the ball off here to Hallis, and Hallis is rolled over, and that will be the last tackle here for the Bradford Bulls. 5 away as Tyrone Ott scoots out of dummy half, back to Hallis, wide to Lilly, Lilly into the in-goal area, safety first there from young Alfie Dean, the former Dewsbury Celtic amateur who had 2 years with Newcastle in 23 and 24. He was Johnny on the spot. It's a second goal line dropout forced by the Bradford Bulls, their 32nd of the season, and this now is intense pressure building. Well, Brian said pre-match it might take a while to break Batley down. They are a very, very good, tough, desperate side arriving here at Odsall this evening as Michael Lawrence tackle one. Big strong collision between him and James Brown, and now Tyrone Ott making big meters out of acting half. Batley doing a lot of defending early doors here. Still 26 degrees at kick-off. It will drop considerably as we head towards full time, but it's still very, very hot and humid here in Energy Zapping. Fulton plays the ball to the left-hand side of the post. It's going to be Hallis to Lawrence. Lawrence denied a try there. Good defence from Brandon Moore, but Bradford knocking on the Batley door. Manny G rolled back in the field of play, and it's another familiar play the ball here for Bradford. They're on the last, right on top of that Batley line. We've had 10 minutes gone here as Tyrone Ott kicks to the in-goal area. Batley ground the ball in the in-goal area, but the referee's going to say knock on first from the Bradford Bulls. We're going to go back to the 10, and it will be a very, very relieving spell of pressure and possession for the Batley Bulldogs. So West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, syndicated coverage with Bulls TV and 247.com. It is Mick the Game calling Gleddle, and we are at Bardercard Odsall to start the second half of the season. And now Batley will be awarded a penalty. Tyrone Ott, Zach Fulton, hands in at the ruck. Penalty awarded on the Batley 20-metre line. So we've had 6 penalties inside the opening 10 minutes. It could be one of those games. Well, the tale of the tape in a historical sense makes for interesting reading from a Batley Bulldogs point of view. Batley might only really have one win here since 2017, but they have always turned up and pushed the Bulls all the way. And when you look at just how close the scoreboard has been in recent meetings here at Odsall. Last season it was Bradford 16, Batley 14. The season before it was Batley 21, Bradford 16. Back in 22 when John Keir was the head coach of Bradford, it was Bradford 21, Batley 20. The year before that it was Bradford 20, Batley 16. And going back to 2019 it was Bradford 16, Batley 6. So history says this is going to be a tight, close game this evening. 0-0, Batley 20 away from the Bradford line with Brown playing the ball. Moore out of acting half, gives it to White. and White is wrapped up 10 away from that Bradford try line. They're going to go back in centre field with Moore. Now to Brown. Brown's looking to smuggle that one out the back door, but Tyron up Michael Lawrence doing well in defence. Backed up there by Sam Hallis. Last tackle here for the Bulldogs. Woods along the line. Wonga Blake though wraps up Dane Manning. Door slams shut. A very, very good first test of Bradford's defensive resolve this evening. Scoreboard says Bradford 0, Batley 0, 12 minutes gone on the clock. And if you are just joining us this evening on either rugbyleague.com or West Yorkshire Radio, the changes for this side this evening. Bradford making 2 changes. Tyron Ott in for Mitch Suter, who has the shoulder injury, and he will miss the next month. And it's Elliot Paposhe for James Meadows. Brian Noble going for a very, very forward-orientated interchange bench this evening. Conrad Harrell, 15-20 metres men on that run on the left-hand side. Draws a warm round of applause. Conrad Harrell's just gone down a little bit gingerly there, but gets to his feet, plays the ball. It's going to be up now towards Lily. Lily lassoed to the floor there. And the 5 shy of halfway, Bradford. Now the 5 inside the Batley half with Eben Skur. They're on tackle number 4. One to go on this set as Hallis misses Lawrence, finds Lily. Lily kicks early on 4. He's got Blake chasing this one. Ball has come off the palm of Wonga Blake, has it? No, they're going to say it has come off of Alfie Dean. Alfie Dean has palmed the ball into touch. So a clever kick early in this game here from Jordan Lilly. It will force Batley into their 4th error, and the weight of possession and territory now will see Bradford have and play the ball 20 metres out from that Batley line. 13 minutes gone on the clock here at Bardacard Odsal. Almost like a throwback to the days of Bullmania with the pyrotechnics and fireworks going on ahead of kick-off. A big crowd inside Odsal for Friday Night Fever. Bradford looking to get the scoreboard ticking over here with Ott. Keys, Lily to Fulton, Fulton to Holmes. Holmes is in. Try will be denied. The pass from Fulton to Holmes has been adjudged to have gone forward. And it will be scrum, head and feed here to the Batley Bulldogs. Bradford 0, Batley 0, 14 gone on the clock. Tom Holmes looking for try number 3 of the season there. The officials have said that has gone forward. The try will not count. It was a lovely, lovely offload there from Fulton because he'd have taken Woods and White out of that defensive equation. As it is, it remains Bradford 0, Batley 0 here at Bardacard Odsal. Tom Holmes on his 8th appearance of the season, his 2nd game back from that pectoral injury. He was looking to make an instant impact with a try here. As Batley come down the middle here. Oohs and ahs from the crowd. It's getting tough and physical down the middle as Brandon Moore tries to take Lawrence and Ott with him, but they slam the door shut just shy of halfway. They're on tackle number 4 here. Ball goes to White once upon a time with the Leeds Rhinos, and the ball now goes back down that middle channel, and Batley 5 metres inside the Bradford half. They are on the 5th and last, so it will be the former Wigan man Woods who puts boot to ball, targets Ockenbaugh. Ockenbaugh takes it 10 out from his line, immediately wrapped up there by Greensmith and Manning. And it's still scoreless here at Bardacard Odsal. Bradford 0, Batley 0, 15 gone on the clock. Well, we mentioned Bradford-Batley previous meetings in a historical sense. Very little between these two sides when they meet here at Odsal. Perhaps the history book will rubber stamp another thrilling, close game. Bradford might just have a say about that. So too might the Batley Bulldogs. They're desperate for the points. Bradford look for a 40-20 early in the count, but that has been stopped. Ooh, very close there from Render, the former Hunslet winger. You can see why Batley went for Jack Render, the 25-year-old. 28 tries from 25 appearances last season. An integral part of Hunslet's promotion winning side. Oh, I wonder if Dean Muir, what he would love to have perhaps Jack Render in his Hunslet side. They host Barrow on Sunday, and Eben Skurs at Fulton. They've forced an error here from the Batley Bulldogs, but it's a touch judge call. Kevin Moore put whistle to lips, and he said it's a knock-on against Dane Manning, but the touch judge has just said Eben Skurt put boot to ball and kicked the ball away as Manning was playing it. So 4 penalties to 3. Bradford are going to put themselves under pressure here because Josh Woods, the 27-year-old former Wigan, Newcastle scrum half, will drill this ball deep into Bradford territory. 17 gone here. Bradford 0, Batley 0. The championship starts the second half of the season. 13 rounds, 13 games to go. And it is James Brown who moves the ball along the line. Skur and Hallis in defence for Bradford. Brandon Moore, the former Halifax man, at acting half, goes towards White, to Woods, to Manning. This is where Bradford have to muscle up and show that defensive resilience. Butterworth in an acting half. Another former Wakefield man in this Batley side as Batley move it with Moore to Burton. One of 3 former Bradford men in this Batley side this evening. Burton's allowed to offload the ball to Brown. Brown is to tack Skur and Ott. And there's a tackle left here for the Batley Bulldogs, who are looking to open the scoring here at Barnacard. Odsel White, shift play down the middle, good defence. Bradford had to be alert. That was Michael Lawrence, who just went ball and all and stopped Luke Blake from crashing over and opening the score. Woods, though, into the in-goal area. Michael Lawrence, well, who knew Michael Lawrence could play fullback? Because Michael Lawrence has just come up with a try-saving tackle on Luke Blake, and then he's dealt with that Josh Woods kick into the in-goal area, and now Bradford will receive a penalty because the referee, Kevin Moore, said held. But Dane Manning has carried on that defensive attack, dragging Tom Holmes from where he was playing the ball 5 metres out from his own line, and he's gone in the he's gone into the in-goal area, and Kevin Moore has said that is a penalty, Dane. I called held, you carried on. So 5 penalties to 3, 18 and a half gone here. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, syndicated coverage with Bulls TV, 247.com. And it is Logan Bayliss, the first interchange of the evening for Eben Skurt. Now it's Keys, Holmes, Harrell on that left-hand edge. Oh, Conrad Harrell. Lovely 1-2 with Tom Holmes. Holmes is going to play the ball, 30 out now from that Batley line. Looking like we're going to have a scoreless first quarter. 0-0, still waiting for first points this evening. Bradford with Bayliss just outside the 20. Holmes, lovely ball to G, and Matty G, the former Sheffield man, former Halifax man, he crashes underneath the post. Try number 6 of the season for the 30-year-old. He was a crucial try scorer against Batley in that narrow 16-12, 1895 gun win. And he certainly got scoring tries against the Batley Bulldogs because Matty G, he was a Halifax player when they lifted the 1895 Cup against Batley back in 2023. Bang on, 20 minutes gone, right at the end of this first quarter here. Bradford 4, Batley 0. Lovely play from Tom Holmes. Had sliced and diced the Batley defence open, and there was space on the outside for a rampaging, anabolic Matty G to touch down and cross underneath the post. Kick predicted at 100% for Jordan Lilly. Lilly, 3 from 4 against the Knights on Sunday. He's kicking at 79% in 2025. His 69th consecutive appearance for the Bradford Bulls, and he adds a crucial 2 points to Bradford's total. Bradford Bulls 6, Batley Bulldogs 0. 20 minutes gone here at Batley. Bradford have drawn first blood, and that is exactly what Brian Noble would have wanted. He knows that it was going to take time. He knows the Batley Bulldogs will tick their effort areas. He spoke pre-match about it taking a while to break them down, but so far so good for the Bulls. A high completion rate, high possession. They're really building and buying into this game. And on West Yorkshire Radio, Bulls TV, Bradford 6, Batley 0. Well, at half-time, we've got the highlights for those on the stream and an update on what is happening with the world of rugby league, because it's all happening here at Odsal on Thursday afternoon. More on that at half-time. Deja vu here for the Bulldogs. They've gone for the restart. They've gone for distance and power. Not quite accuracy there, and that's the second time that one has gone sailing out on the full. Another penalty, 6 penalties to 3 now, and a chance for Bradford to cement a little bit of a lead here, because 6-0 they lead. 22 gone on the clock, 18 to go to half-time. No easy games in the championship, remember. And it will be Lilly who taps the ball and drops it off to Lawrence, who was denied earlier by Luke Cooper. Quick play of the ball there from Lawrence to Lilly. Lilly inside the 20. Wrapped up there by Manning. Batley backed up on their own try line now as Ott fires it towards Lawrence. Lawrence to Hallis. Hallis just laying and building that platform for Bradford to strike. Underneath the post, it's going to be Ott to Lilly to Logan Bayliss. Bayliss twisting, turning. Well, he hesitated. Perhaps he should have just gone full throttle to the line, but Tyrone Ott has the door slammed shut. Last tackle here for the Bradford Bulls. Incessant pressure. The goal short here. That's come off the Batley hand, and it will be a repeat set of 6-8 to the Bradford Bulls. Although the officials are going to say that one has touched the Bradford hand. Well, the crowd mystified, the players mystified. Somewhere in and amongst that, the officials have seen an error from the Bulls. So, second error picked up of the evening. Still tight, still tense. An electrifying clash from the championship. Bradford looking to return to winning ways as Joe Burton is caught there by Harrell. And G, he'll get to his feet, he'll play the ball. It's a lovely summer's evening here at Odsal. Brandon Moore, real workhorse, carries Batley up to halfway. They are on the 5th and last tackle, but that has been negated and the tackle count will restart. Brian Noble will not be happy that Bradford have conceded a set restart there on the last tackle, because that's put themselves under a bit of pressure here, who lead by that Manigi try in the 20th minute. Here goes Woods to White. A chance here for Bateman, who's just come on, and Jacob Bateman, he'll move the ball over on that right-hand edge, and Batley crossing at the corner. And that is Robbie Butterworth, his 8th try of the season. An instant impact by the Bradford Bulls teenager. An interesting subplot to this one. It was White to Bateman. Look at Bateman. Oh, he dragged and took Holmes too far wide, and there was no Armitage in position there. And Butterworth, his 2nd season at Batley, the former Wakefield fullback, had a spell at London when Emmanuel Waney and James Meadows were there. So G's try cancelled out by Butterworth's, and it was all down to that run, that line break from young Jacob Bateman, who's had loan spells at Cornwall and Newcastle this season. He made one appearance for Bradford last season under Eamon O'Carroll in that round 7 win over the Sheffield Eagles here at Odsal. But he's really looking to impress and show Brian Noble, Lee Greenwood, what he potentially could offer Bradford in the seasons to come. Bradford 6, Batley 4, try scored, 5 metres in from touch on the far stand side. Josh Woods didn't have too many conversions attempts last week, 2 from 2 against Doncaster. Kick predictors at 74%, and that one is piloted between the post and over the black dot. And with 13 minutes to go to half time, Bradford 6, Batley 6.
Leaving the field for the Bradford Bulls, number 18, sponsored by Martin Ross and Rick Tonks, Sam Hallis.
West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, 247.com. And those watching in the future, Bulls TV. Jordan Lillett gets a restart back underway here for the Bradford Bulls. Well, you've got to say, credit where it's due. That was a great run from young Jacob Bateman. Brian Noble happy that Bateman can feature tonight. It starts a little bit of an interesting subplot to proceedings. James Brown on the restart meets Lawrence and Fulton, 20 shy of halfway. Now it's going to be more out of acting half. Batley 5 shy of halfway here on the restart. And the will kick early with Woods turning around Holmes. Bradford 7 first team players out injured this evening. No Luke Cooley, Kieran Gill, James Meadows, Mitch Suter, George Tafua, Nathan Mason. Not that Brian Noble will use any of that as an excuse. There's a good return from last week's man of the match guy Armitage, who scored 2 tries in that narrow defeat to York, and all of a sudden now Bradford are just up in the ante with 12 minutes to go to half time. The 10 inside the Batley half. Ronan Michaels just come on the field to add that energy and assist Bradford's momentum building plans. He plays the ball 25 out, Bayliss inside the 20, wrestled to the floor there by Manning. Bradford on the last, it'll go back to Holmes. Well, the pass is a little bit rusty there from Tyranot. Holmes has to try some magic. Holmes regathers, no he doesn't. Oh, if Tom Holmes regathers the kick, it's absolutely spectacular and sensational, and it's on all the highlight reels. Well, it was a rusty, sloppy ball from Tyranot. It went behind Lillian Keys. Holmes had to race back and pick it up, and Holmes very nearly created something out of nothing. We have just over 10 minutes to go to half time here. Bradford 6, Batley 6. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com. Don't forget, on Sunday we're at Olympic Legacy Park for the South Yorkshire derby, Sheffield against Doncaster. That one should be a humdinger. Wonga Blake in defence there, wrapping up Niall Flynn, who's come off the interchange bench. James Brown to Butterworth, he's wrapped up. And that's the last tackle here for Batley. They're certainly going toe to toe, set to set with the Bradford Bulls this evening as Josh Woods kicks. Holmes takes it on the 10. And he meets those maroon and gold shirted Batley defenders just outside his 20-metre line. Armitage now to Lilly, to Blake. Blake to Fulton, and look at that, suffocating, smothering defence from the Bulldogs, wrapping the Australian up for no real gain there. As Armitage has spilled possession here for Bradford, no real pressure there from that one. Well, Wonga Blake's just hold his hand up there. He was at acting half, he threw the hospital ball, and that's Bradford's 4th error and 2nd in quick succession here. 4 errors apiece, and we've got 9 to go to half time. Scrum, head and feed here to the Batley Bulldogs, right in front of the Bradford post. And Bradford just guilty, you feel, of clocking off, switching off, and it's those moments that are momentum swings, momentum killers, which work against you. And that is something Brian Noble, Lee Green would have been working hard on improving. Certainly that learning, that focus and that maturity. So, a self-inflicted error from the Bulls. They're now having to defend with Josh Woods to Flynn. Niall Flynn wrapped up there by Ronan Michael and Tyra Knox. Underneath the Bradford post, 5 metres out. Set restart conceded by the Bulls as Ben White cuts Bradford open, and Bateman is ankle tapped and dragged down a metre shy of the line. And now referee Kevin Moore will say Bateman, in his haste, a little bit of youthful exuberance there from the 19-year-old. He hasn't played the ball correctly, and that will be an error here from the Batley Bulldogs. Well, Mark Moxon might have departed the Batley Bulldogs earlier on this week. They do have assistant interim coach James Chapman and Ben Kay this evening making the big decisions. Fair to say, if John Keir is the name, and that's the name doing the rounds here, Bradford are awarded a penalty, which will see Bradford have a full set now from halfway with Conrad Harrell. But I was just going to say, if the names and the rumours doing the rounds that John Keir does go back to the Batley Bulldogs, then oh boy, what a championship survival operation John Keir will attempt to do. As Bradford now break clear with Keys. They're inside the Batley 10. Tyra Knox to Emmanuel Wayne. The Wayne train hits the Batley buffers. 2 metres out. Goes back to Keys, to Bayliss, to Holmes. Bradford queuing up. Conrad Harrell. And it's going to be Guy Armitage in the corner. His third try in 2 Onsel outings. The ball to loose man. Lighting up Onsel. The fireworks going off. The pyrotechnics into the Westcoats are evening there. And Armitage now moves on to try number 9 of the season. And that was a very, very well fought score there by Guy Armitage. So 2 tries last week for Guy Armitage. He scored again this evening. He's made it very, very difficult for Jordan Lilly over on the far stand side. But that was much, much better from the Bradford Bulls. There was structure, there was smarts, and you're just seeing Bradford, after being guilty of clocking off and switching off, allowing Batley to take advantage of that momentum swing. They have cut down on those issues, and there is that belief that they can post points and attack the Batley Bulldogs. Jordan Lilly from the touchline, 2 from 2. Bradford, it's clear, 5 minutes to half time. Friday night fever in Oxford. Bradford 12, Batley 6. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, 247.com, and those watching on Bulls TV. Well, Jordan Lilly's goal kicking percentage, it was 79%. It's just gone up to 82, the highest of the season. We're back underway, and this time Robbie Butterworth's restart just dropped short of Bradford's try line. Bayliss tackle 1, Waney tackle 2. Bradford centre field. Tyra not out of acting half. Now it's going to go to Holmes, and Holmes attacks the markers, and Bradford on tackle free, 10 shy of halfway. Looking perhaps to make it back-to-back scores as it goes from Keys to Harrell. And that's good defence there from Lucas Walshaw, the former Bradford man, wrapping up the Tongan international. Bradford have made it to the last tackle after points. Lilly, high, hanging kick. Blake chasing this one. Blake, can he pinch the pocket there of Dean? No, he can't. Wonga Blake adjudged to have tapped the ball forward into Alfie Dean, and it will be a turnover in possession. Bradford 12, Batley 6 here. 3 minutes to go to half-time. Well, it's certainly been a strong, dominant display thus far from the Bradford Bulls. But credit where credit's due. Batley, they're ticking all their effort areas. And they're really looking to frustrate and disrupt the Bradford Bulls this evening. And so far, so good for Bradford's West Yorkshire rivals. They've certainly got a chance here, and they've been piggybacked up the field here because Niall Flynn has had the ball stolen from his arm by Logan Bayliss and Tyron Ott. 11 penalties so far in this first half. That will not please either James Chapman or Brian Noble. 2 to go to half-time. We'll give you a score update at half-time from what's happening at Post Office Road between Featherstone and Halifax. Another big West Yorkshire derby taking place under the floodlights this evening. What can Batley do here? Moore to Woods, to White, to Bateman. Bateman inside the 20, forward pass between Woods and White. A 7th error in this first half from the Batley Bulldogs, and that will not please James Chapman or Ben Kay. Well, there's an old saying, actions speak louder than words. Brian Noble, Lee Greenwood still optimistic at what is being built and what could be achieved this season, but the feeling and consciousness is that the squad and side of Bradford, you simply can't keep giving good championship sides soft tries from errors, or equally ways back into games. We saw last week just how that can go against you. Bradford now in what is likely to be their last possession of this first half. They're playing the ball here with Fulton. 5 inside the Batley half. Tyron Ott now to Lilly, to Waney. Waney offloads the ball out the back to Holmes. Holmes, like the jack in a box, is brought down 25 metres out. We've got 40 seconds of this first half left as Keys fires the ball to G. Do you think about a one-pointer? It's tight, it's tense, it's close. Keys now to Bayliss. Bayliss inside the 10. Last tackle here. Lilly's calling for it. It goes to Keys. Armitage is in again. He's got it down. He's contorted his body and somehow put the ball down past Burton and Butterworth. And Bradford, their conviction has been rewarded. Lilly was calling for a drop goal. Bradford went wide. And it was double delight for Guy Armitage here against York on Sunday. It's double delight in this first half for Guy Armitage against the Bulldogs on Friday Night Fever. Look at that from Guy Armitage. Those who have the luxury of the replay screens watching on Bulls TV, on the live stream, Keys misses out Carell. It goes towards Armitage, and you've got Burton and Butterworth. Armitage has taken 2 versatile Batley defenders over the line and squeezed the ball down. 16-6. Hooter imminent. Right on the buzzer. Kick predictor for Jordan Lilly, 42%. Well, we mentioned Brian Noble's pre-match message about playing smart, playing direct, build the pressure, and then turn that pressure into points. Well, Bradford have ticked that box, if we're being brutally honest. It's been a strong, dominant, controlled first half performance. Not perfect, because there have been 2 set restarts and a couple of penalties that have put the Bradford side under a little bit of pressure and adversity. Jordan Lilly, can he maintain this goal-kicking record from that far stand touchline? That one is good. Half-time here. Bradford Bulls 18, Batley Bulldogs 6. 2 crucial tries from Guy underway. And it will be Jordan Lilly who will get second half helpings, second half servings. So what does this second half have to offer here on 247.tv, West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, also Bulls TV, as Bradford nearly force a goal line dropout from the start, at the start of this second half. Somehow Butterworth just put his body on the line and give it to Flynn, and then everybody got behind Niall Flynn like sandbags trying to stop the floodwater coming in. Here goes Brandon Moore out of acting half with James Brown playing it. Goes to Manning on that left-hand side. No love lost between Dane Manning and the Batley Bulldogs. So Batley trapped inside their own 20 here. Well, Elliot Paposhe, you might have just heard it on the PA here. It's only his second appearance of the season for Elliot Paposhe. Here we go. Batley forced to kick on the last to Holmes. Holmes to Armitage. And you've got to say, in this second half, Guy Armitage has a chance to make it back-to-back man-of-the-match performances. It's not just a case of getting the ball, you have to finish it. And oh boy, Guy Armitage with the box office finishes. Ronan Michaels playing the ball 10 inside the Batley half. Ott to Keys, to Lilly, to G. G's just taken a late hit there by Ben White. And I think Ben White, it's accidental. He's kind of gone into Matty G's right wrist. And Matty G is down in some discomfort here. He's holding that right arm wrist. The error will be given against the Bulls right at the start of this second half. And it will be a chance for Batley to turn defence into attack. Bradford's 5th error, their first of the second half. Well, we'll talk about the defence pre-match for those that joined us ahead of kick-off, and the target from Brian Noble this evening, not to concede more than 2 tries this evening, and certainly Brian wants to see a good connective defensive display. So clock stopped, time off here at Odsall. Matty G still down, receiving treatment. Brian Noble will be wanting Matty G to continue. G and Fulton bring a lot to those edges. And when a lot of people focus on the big men, Ockimbar, Blake, Carell, Armitage, or if Tafua and Gill were featuring, well, what about those inside edges, those back row forwards of Fulton and G? Really is physical, overpowering. And a big, big presence. Paposhe and Blake in defence. And Elliot Paposhe, his first act since coming on is to force an error from Ollie Greensmith. He was a try scorer against Doncaster on Sunday in that thumping 50 points to 12 win for Doncaster. A 9th error of the evening for the Batley Bulldogs. Brian Noble will be hoping Bradford play smart. They build and then turn that pressure into points in this second half. That's something we're going to look at under the microscope in this second half. Conrad Harrell, 15 out, tackle one, Otts to Waney, a miracle offload out the back door to Bayliss, and the former Brisbane Tiger, Brisbane Bronco man is wrapped up 5 away from the line. Now to Keys, dancing feet, very nearly, went past 1, 2, 3, 4. Wrapped up there by Jonah Parsons. No Alistair Leake for Batley this evening, as Emmanuel Waney has taken out half the Batley team underneath the post, and the referee will penalise Batley. Well, Batley questioning that decision, but they're going to say it was Waney who was taken out first. And Brian Noble wants 2 points here. Brian Noble has got the message down. Perhaps he has taken note of this fixture in a historical sense, knowing how close these two have run each other at Odsal, specifically in the last 6 or 7 seasons. Goes without saying, 2019, Bradford won by 10 points. It was 16-6. All the other ones were either 2, 1 point, 4 points, or a 5-point loss. 21-16 in 2023. Kick predicted 100% right at the start of this second half. 5 minutes gone. Lily 4 from 4. Bradford Bulls 20. Batley Bulldogs 6. Bradford building and turning that pressure into points on the scoreboard right at the start of this second half. Well, for any Batley fans watching or listening this evening, certainly you've got to hope in the second half of the season, whether or not John Keir answers the SOS from the Bulldogs to come back and return and take part in that championship survival push. You can't be chopping and changing the lineup and playing players in unfamiliar positions. Very, very hard, as Bradford have found out in the last few seasons, to build any consistency or get any combinations going. But that is how Batley have been going in 2025. Bradford on the restart now with Ott to Fulton, who passed the HIA at half-time, we're told. Back in centre field here now with Lily. Bradford's Young Player of the Year, Elliot Paposhe, makes 10 vital metres, the former St Helens man. Bradford on the restart after points. Brandon Moore puts Lily under pressure. Here goes Armitage and Ockenbaugh. Ball's bounced dead. It will be a 7-tackle set coming up here for the Batley Bulldogs. Bradford 20. Batley 6, a short turnaround for these two West Yorkshire rivals. Both played on Sunday, both suffered defeats, both looking to return to winning ways for differing reasons. Bradford looking to keep the chase on Toulouse, who host Oldham tomorrow. Batley looking to close the gap on themselves and Widnes and try and escape the bottom 4. London have the bye week this weekend. That will not help Mike Eccles whatsoever, especially if Widnes get a result against York on Sunday afternoon. Well, we live and breathe the championship on 247.tv, West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Bulls TV for those watching, as Batley now inside the 20, looking for their second score. Dane Manning plays the ball, left-hand side of the post. Ben White into the in-goal area. Bateman chasing this one. Safety first from Tom Holmes. Palms it dead. He could perhaps hear or smell that Batley Bulldogs chasing attack. They were literally breathing down the back of his neck. And that is a good play on the last there from Ben White. First goal line dropout that the Bulldogs have forced the Bulls to concede. I know we're talking about Sunday afternoon and a date in South Yorkshire at Olympic Legacy Park, but next Sunday, Barrow against Bradford at Craven Park. Barrow already predicting a 3,000 plus crowd for that one. They're celebrating their 150th year celebrations. What a game that should be next Sunday. But here, right at the start of this second half, another restart conceded by the Bulls. James Brown winning that one at the ruck. Here goes Bateman, takes the ball from Flynn. Bateman wrapped up by Bayliss and Ott underneath the Bradford post. Well, that might be a bit of a bone of contention for Brian Noble. It's the third one Bradford have conceded, and here now Batley have numbers, although Blake just fires himself out of that defensive line and wraps up Greensmith. Batley knocking on the Bradford door. There's pushing and shoving over on the far stand side. The touch judge getting involved, but the officials say play on, as we see Jonah Parsons with that maroon coloured scrum cap run straight there into G, Ott and Keys. Two left here on this set for the Bulldogs. Brandon Moore uses one, and here's the last now. Bradford 20, Batley 6. Ben White kicks into the in-goal area. Everybody's missed it, and in the end, Wonga Blake, he could hear the plodding footsteps of the cavalry of the Bulldogs. Kick chase pressure, and it is another repeat set of 6. This will please James Chapman and the Bulldogs. They're certainly trying to get some rhythm and cohesion going here. 5 changes made by the Bulldogs this evening, remember. 2 of those because Noah High and Jaden Myers recalled by Darryl Powell and Wakefield Trinity. So, Bradford being starved of possession here in energy-sapping conditions. They lead by 14. We've had 10 minutes gone at the start of the second half. Batley moving the ball on that left-hand side. Big, strong, clattering run there from Dane Manning. The 35-year-old gets to his feet, plays the ball. Brandon Moore to White. White wrapped up by G, Keys and Bayliss. The 5 metres out now, the Bulldogs. Looking to narrow the gap and get the second half first try as James Brown goes close. Surges to within a metre of breach in Bradford's defensive line. Last tackle coming up here. Brandon Moore out of acting half, but he's held up. Look at that defence from Tom Holmes. Look at that defence from Elliot Paposhi and Tyron Ott. 2 players given an opportunity to shine this evening in the absence of others. So 4 consecutive defensive sets Bradford have withheld, and that for mine will be a big green tick of those effort areas from Brian Noble and Lee Greenwood when it comes to a strong, good defensive display. 28 to go, 12 gone in this second half. Harrell's playing the ball on halfway. Paposhi caught high there above the shoulder. Officials have missed that one. They'll play on though with Bayliss coming down the middle, wrapped up there by Flynn, Atkinson. And they're on the last tackle here, the Bulls. 25 metres out. Keys, high, hanging kick. Holmes and G chasing this one. And it's that kick chase pressure there of Holmes wrapping up Butterworth, who surrenders possession 10 metres out from his own line. Look at this line speed in defence from the Bulls. No sooner has Niall Flynn got the ball just before the 20-metre line, he's wrapped up by Bayliss and Fulton. You almost get the feeling Bradford ticking those effort areas, zapping the energy out of the Batley attack, but Joe Burton has other ideas as the former Bradford Leeds man makes 20 metres forward, and on the last tackle Batley will kick 5 inside the Bradford half, and that will be Ben White, who has drilled the ball into touch, and I think that is a good indicator as any from the Bradford Bulls that Batley just looked devoid of ideas and creativity at this stage of the game. Down by 14, 20 points to 6. Ben White could have gone aerial in the end. He's drilled the ball into touch, which gives Batley a little bit of a breather. Yes, Bradford will come from their own 20-metre line with Jaden Hockenbaugh, but ultimately you might just want to see more attacking array of options. 20 points to 6 here. Fulton in possession for the Bulls. Now to Lily. Lily to Michael. Hallis has come back on the field alongside Skirt. And Bradford have that va-va-voom as Armitage is away. But that did go a metre, maybe 2 metres, maybe 3 forward. And he will have to come back. He had Burton and Bateman and Butterworth. BBB, triple B, chasing a double B. In the end, Guy Armitage has to come back. Forward pass. Correct call there from the officials. Well, the Bradford fans, a very, very partisan atmosphere here at Bardercard Hudsall for this one. Bradford's 6th error of this game. Bradford 20, Batley 6. Batley will have the ball 20 metres out from the Bradford line, and here they go, running it in with Batley-born Luke Cooper. Certainly gives the Batley forward pack a little bit of an edge, does Luke Cooper. Parsons, White wrapped up. Bateman's gone down behind him. It's an entanglement of legs. They finally get up here. And Ronan Michael standing tall in defence there, the Ireland international. Bradford backed up on their own try line, incidentally, here. It's been Batley right at the start of this second half as Wonga Blake wraps up Jonah Parsons. No thinking time at all. They're on the last. White to Greensmith. Greensmith held up in goal. Chance denied. And the Bull supporters cheering that one. It's another last tackle play from the Bulldogs. And this time it's Ollie Greensmith who can't get past Lilly, Bayliss, Holmes and Hallis. A very, very energised and alert Bradford Bulls defensive line. Well, Brian Noble, Lee Greenwood, as we said, they're still optimistic at what is being built and what could be achieved this season. And the consensus is, you know, Bradford stick to the morals, show that learning, show that improvement, play smart, build, turn pressure into points. Then who knows what could happen. But certainly the optimism, the positivity being felt at Hudsall this evening. We've had 15 minutes gone at the start of this second half. Just Jordan Lilly's penalty for Emmanuel Waney being taken out. The difference, it's still real arm wrestle stuff here as Hallis is brought down on his own 40, and there's a flop there from the Batley defender who pushed Hallis from playing the ball, and it's a set restart. The first of the evening that's gone the way of the Bulls. So full set inside the Batley half. Fulton's brought down there on 1. 10 in from touch, 40 away from the line. And they're appealing for an error here. Dane Manning is saying he's lost the ball, Fulton, and after being given the set restart, Bradford have come up with error number 7. Their 3rd in this second half, their 7th of the evening. Well, you've just seen James Chapman bring on both Luke Blake and Luke Cooper. Certainly 2 big, powerful ball carriers that will add power and go forward to the Batley middles. So Bradford are going to have to group together to counteract that energy that has come off the Batley Bulldogs interchange bench. Heading towards the hour mark here on West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, 247.tv and Bulls TV. Mick the Game caller Gleddle here. So Batley, early into this set of 6 after that Zach Fulton error. And here's one of those 2 interchanges carrying the ball, and it's Luke Blake. The 35-year-old, 7th appearance of the season from him. Now White to Parsons. Parsons cuts through a gap, but Blake grapples with the left shoulder blade and drags him down. Parsons, to his credit, stands up, gets a quick play of the ball in, and here goes Niall Flynn. He's brought down at the left-hand side of the post. 1 remaining after this. They're 10 metres out now. Parsons, short crash ball to Blake. Blake's run is halted, 2 metres out. Last tackle play. White over the top to Walshaw. Walshaw bounces off 1, bounces off 2. Bradford slam the door shut once more. Keys, Bayliss, Holmes and G. The Bradford defenders stopping Lucas Walshaw on that occasion. Well, we've got to say a good 80-85% of the second half has been down inside Bradford's own 20-metre line. So credit to Batley. They are making the metres forward to getting themselves in those field positions. But what can Bradford do now? Armitage, and then a quick play of the ball, sees Skirt playing the ball. 15 shy of halfway. Here goes Conrad Harrell up to halfway, taking 3 Batley defenders with him. Just to the left of centre field, he'll play the ball. Now it's going to be Hallison acting half to Michael. Michael breaks clear, and Ronan Michael makes 20 metres just outside the Batley 20. Bradford on the last tackle here, looking for their first score, or first try in the second half, as Joe Burton is forced to concede the goal line dropout off the boot of Joe Keys. And that's the 4th time in this game that Bradford have forced a goal line dropout from the Batley Bulldogs. And that will please and delight Brian Noble. We're heading towards the hour mark. Don't forget, in the first half we had a tryless first quarter. Are we about to see the Bulldogs' defence bend and buckle under the Bulls' pressure? Well, from the goal line dropout, Eben Skur makes 30 metres from halfway up to the Batley 18. Hallis to Winnie. Winnie to Hallis. Hallis twisting, turning, wrapped up there by Moore. 5 metres out now as Winnie heads towards the post, and it's an error from the Bradford Bulls. All that pressure just alleviated. And Odsall goes from being party central to being party pooped, almost like the person you didn't want to attend the party has just come through the door. A deadly silence at Odsall there after that error from the Bulls. Their 8th of the game, their 4th for the second half. And we're just seeing Bradford once again just switch off, stray away from that game plan, just giving that momentum moment, switching back to the Bulldogs. So an hour gone, we're inside the final 20 here at Barricade Odsall. It's still Bradford 20, Batley 6. A real tough showing from both sides here in hot, humid conditions. Bradford up and over, halfway here with Jaden Ockenbaugh. Now it'll be Hallis to Wayne. Hallis to Keys. Keys to Lily. Lily to Holmes. Holmes to Ockenbaugh. Ockimbore's felled 11 metres out from the Batley line. 18 to go here at Odsall. As Eben Skur draws in the Batley defence, offloads the ball back to Hallis. Hallis to Wayne it. And once again, the Wayne train is halted 5 metres out. Bradford on that fifth and last tackle here. Can they further extend their lead? Some magic from Jordan Lilly perhaps. Into the corner. Pan back by Ockimbour to Fulton. Oh, Fulton down the touchline. Referee says play on. Harlem Globetrotter stuff from the Bulls. Crossfield kick from Holmes. Armitage has possession. And Armitage, his run is halted short of the Batley line. And they're going to say this could be possession back to the Bulldogs. Well, Joe Keys mystified with that call from the touch judge. They're going to say Guy Armitage knocked it forward. It was a last tackle play. Well, let me tell you how Zach Fulton ended up with that ball on that far stand touchline. He must have twinkle toes feet here. You're talking millimetres. But I think from what we're seeing thus far in this second half, points at a premium. Batley having a real dig here, making life incredibly hard for Bradford to break them down. Bradford's defence certainly up to the task, and you can almost preempt what Brian Noble's going to say with Batley playing the ball with Lucas Walshaw 15 metres shy of halfway. He's going to say, you almost feel Bradford did look comfortable in that second half, and you've got to say he's probably right. Batley on the last tackle, on halfway. White, once again, just happy to drill the ball past Harrell, past Armitage, into touch. Well, it's been a 5-day turnaround for both Bradford and Batley. In energy sapping conditions. Is that, you feel, a little bit of a contributing factor to what we're seeing in this second half? There's a lot of energy, a lot of application and effort, but both sides coming up with a couple of errors that might just make Brian Noble and James Chapman a little bit squirmish. Eben Skur up to halfway, caught high. Another penalty that Batley have conceded. 9-4 the penalty count now against the Bulldogs. And this now from halfway, we'll see Jordan Lilly give the Bradford Bulls a full set of 6, 20 metres out from that Batley line. Well, it's quite a busy day on Thursday because we've got Ben Thaler joining us, the former Super League referee. Always good to catch up with Ben Thaler here at Odsall. Bradford now looking for the try that will decide this one. Holmes picks up possession for Bradford. It did touch a Batley hand, and Holmes has a free play to that effect as Holmes is wrapped up by Dane Manning. Dead set central to the post, but he's gone behind the advantage line. No real advantage to Bradford. It is going to be a scrum head and feet to Bradford, 10 metres out underneath the post. Well, you saw in the first half, 3 tries from G and the brace from Armitage. Butterworth with a try for Batley. 20 points to 6 here. Something tells me we're not going the distance this afternoon. From the base of the scrum, Hallis to Holmes. Batley just dropping off tackles now. It has been a Herculean effort from the bottom 4 Bulldogs against the top 2 Bulls, but how much more can they stay alert to Bradford's attacking Arsenal? Emmanuel Wayne, tackle 2, right underneath the Bulldogs' post. Keys to Michael, tackle 3, rolled over on his back. Look at that defence there from Brandon Moore and Dane Manning, 2 workhorses. Here goes Emmanuel Wayne, tackle 4. 1 more to go on this set for Bradford. They're underneath the post, knocking at the door. Hallis to Keys, over the top to Armitage. It's hat-trick time for Guy Armitage, and probably the match, the man of the match, the moment of the match. A lovely loop ball from Joe Keys to Guy Armitage, who goes over unopposed in at the corner, and that is game, set and match to the Bradford Bulls. They will return to winning ways, and they will be hoping a new unbeaten run starts here in earnest, just like it had to do after the last defeat against Barrow in round 4. Batley have defended well, but there was nothing to stop the pass from Keys. It missed 4 Batley defenders. They couldn't glide, they couldn't slide over in time, and that was Joe Keys at his best. He's missed 4 Batley players out, and all that Robbie Butterworth and Joe Burton could do was just watch Guy Armitage touchdown in at the corner for his 3rd try of the evening. It has been a professional performance by the Bradford Bulls. Yes, they've had to be patient. Yes, they've had to work hard to break this Batley defence down. But in the end, everything Brian Noble said pre-match about high completion, high possession, build and grow into the game, everything Brian has said has come to fruition as Jordan Lilly makes it 5 from 5 with the boot. A spectacular touchline conversion. It's Friday Night Fever at Odsall. 10 minutes to go. Bradford 26, Batley 6. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, 247.tv and Bulls TV. Mick the game caller Gledall. I think we can stop the man of the match, Paul, and vote. I think Guy Armitage is going to win it for the 2nd time in 2 games in 5 days. And here he is, taking the Robbie Butterworth restart straight into Dane Manning and Lucas Walshaw. Well, Batley have made Bradford work hard for the points this evening. Is that pressure about to blow the doors open as Conrad Harrell fancies a strong run from a standing start, and he's brought down there just over halfway. Bradford on the restart here. 8 points to 0 in this second half. Skirt to Wayne it 30 away, tackle 4, 1 to go here. Bradford inching closer towards that Batley 20-metre line as the 2 former Halifax men, Keys and G, combine. This is the last tackle. Keys is calling for it. Keys gets it. Another high hanging kick on the inside. Holmes chasing. Holmes just lets Butterworth's feet hit terra firma. A little bit of a Steve-oism there. And it remains Bradford 26, Batley 6. Well, it's certainly been a strong, dominant, controlled second half performance from the Bradford Bulls. Certainly for Guy Armitage's hat-trick score, the attack, the execution was certainly there. And Bradford have ticked those effort areas in terms of defence. There was a period in that second half, the first quarter of the second half, from the 40th minute to the 60th minute, where 4 times Batley had repeat sets inside the Bradford 20 and could not breach that Bradford line. That will probably be the most pleasing statistic aspect of this performance. Bradford have just conceded what is a 5th penalty of the evening, and that gives Batley a piggy up to halfway. Cooper calling for the ball. It goes to Brown. It's going to go back to Moore. And Brandon Moore, a real leader on the field to complement everything Dane Manning and James Brown bring to proceedings, is trapped on halfway. Look at this defence here from Eben Skirt, Tyrone Ott, Sam Hallis, pushing Batley behind that attacking line, as we now see Batley move the ball over on this far stand side here with Burton. Burton grappled and just dragged down there by the PNG powerhouse Emmanuel Werney. Batley on the last tackle. White kicks into space. Bounce of the ball will force Okinbaugh to run it from outside of his own in goal area. And he is rolled over 18 metres out from his own try line. Matty G just leaving the field here for the closing moments of this one. We've got 8 minutes to go here. 4 tries to 1 as Blake now along the line to Fulton, and the former Manly Sea Eagle made his debut against the Roosters back in 2022. Plays the ball on halfway. Blake to Lilly. Here goes Hallis. Well, we've just mentioned Brandon Moore's leadership qualities. Well, Sam Hallis does that in abundance as well. The former England schoolboy captain. Lilly on the last, kicks into space, bounce of the ball. A little bit of a tricky one there, but Batley able to defuse the situation 10 metres out from their own try line. Well, the Batley Bulldogs will get an extended rest, as will the Bradford Bulls. They will head up the Barrow Peninsula and they will face Barrow a week on Sunday on what should be a real blockbuster of a championship occasion. For Batley Bulldogs, whether or not it remains Ben Kay and James Chapman in temporary interim charge, or whether John Keir answers the SOS, they will host the Sheffield Eagles at Mount Pleasant. I'm sure there'll be a lot of coaches potentially looking at the Batley job. James Ford was at the Dewsbury Gould game last Friday. He's still looking for work. What a challenge, whoever takes the job on a permanent basis. I'm sure Kevin Nicholas doesn't have too many empty email requests, as Bradford back in possession here on tackle 1 after Ben White's kick was returned by the man of the match for mine, Guy Armitage. Bradford on halfway here now with Tom Holmes. Ott to Okinbaugh. Bradford playing very, very smart and controlled as Tyrone Ott goes on a mazy run out of acting half. He's made 20 metres there, Tyrone Ott. And all of a sudden, Bradford 20 metres out now, looking for try number 5 of the evening. Lilly to Keys. Keys kicks early on 4, turning around Burton. Burton just gets there and palms the ball dead. And then there was a moment's pause because everyone thought, is that ball actually going to roll dead? Because Keys was chasing his own kick. And that did just go dead. It is a 5th goal line dropout of the evening forced by the Bradford Bulls, and that kind of highlights and emphasises just how dominant and how controlled this performance has been. 26 points to 6 on the scoreboard. It's certainly not going to win championship game of the year or season by any long shot, but Bradford, they're going to light up the scoreboard in the closing moments. A lovely try out of nothing from Tom Holmes, his 2nd game back from that pectoral injury that saw him miss 12 games. He is back with an instant impact with those sharp, piercing runs, and Bradford do have a 5th try. They hit 30, and let me tell you, that was electrifying rugby league. Holmes gets the ball from Ott at acting half, and then against a very, very tired, jaded, fatigued Batley defensive line, Holmes scores from 20, 25 metres out for one of the tries of the evening. Well, he'll certainly enjoy that, will the 28-year-old. As we said, it's only his 8th appearance of the season. He missed 12 games on the bounce after suffering that pectoral injury. And he is back to his best. And if you listen to Brian Noble pre-match, he's got Kieran Gill and Luke Hooley back next week for that trip to Barrow. So there's certainly, despite Bradford this evening being down to their final fit 18 players, that injury adversity will subside, and Bradford all of a sudden will certainly pose those selection headaches on Brian Noble and Lee Greenwood. Kick predictor here, right on the main stand touchline. It's at 18%, but Jordan Lilly making a mockery of the kick predictor. It's 6 from 6 from Jordan Lilly, who's now kicking at 85%. And it's Bradford Bulls 32, Batley Bulldogs 6. We're inside the final 5 minutes at Hudsall. A job very well done by the Bulls. G. Holmes, a hat-trick of tries to Guy Armitage. Well, Brian Noble will be pleased and delighted that Bradford have lived up to those expectations with a strong performance against tough, desperate championship opponents in the Batley Bulldogs. Well, Batley have forced an error here from Zach Fulton, and it will be a play the ball, or should I say a scrum, head and feed to Batley that will close out this game, because there's just 60 seconds left. Don't forget, we do it all again on Sunday afternoon. Olympic Legacy Park from 2:45. Sheffield against Doncaster. We'll recap everything that has happened from the start of round 14 of the championship. Batley, can they breach Bradford's line? They've not done it in this second half. 32 points to 6, 30 seconds here for Bradford to hold on. Brandon Moore to Jonah Parsons. Parsons wrapped up there by Fulton and Blake, and he's brought down 6 or 7 metres away from the Bradford line in that far corner. James Brown not going to get any change out of Emmanuel Wainey, Sam Hallis and Wonga Blake. Batley's last throw of the dice here to score some points, Sheffield. White's going to play the ball underneath the Bradford post on the last tackle. The hooter is imminent. Bradford have just conceded a set restart, incidentally. Elliot Paposhik back on, and this will be a clean set of 6 as Niall Flynn tries to get the ball down, but he's held up in goal, and Batley go back to the 10. They've just not been able to break down this resilient, redoubtable Bradford Bulls defence in this second half. Hooter sounds, full time here at Barnacard Hudsall. Bradford Bulls 32, Batley Bulldogs 6, and they return to winning ways. It's the Bulls with a very, very controlled, dominant performance, a professional display. Yes, it was a little bit rusty at times. I'm sure Brian Noble will highlight in his